All right, you ready for this?
I don't know, that sounds pretty evil.
I know, right? Today I'm going to introduce you the Little Walter Hipster Model 9 H10. This amp was modeled after some of the late 50 Fender Harvard amps. And Phil actually owned a 1958 Fender Harvard. However, he decided that it had a little bit too much breakup early on. So he's made a few Little Walter tube amp modifications to give it just a little bit more headroom without losing any of the nice, thick, lush, creamy distortion that this amp produces. This amp was particularly designed specifically for rock and blues, although I have used this amp several times on some acoustic gigs. And today I'm going to go through and actually model an acoustic plug through it as well. Man, it's just a beautiful amplifier. It articulates well, it handles things extremely well. Again, from the genius mind of Phil Bradbury at Little Walter Tube Amps. This is the prototype, and the prototype here is in tweed. However, Phil has informed me he's also going to do these in some colors, some limited color runs. So please see Phil or go to the website and look over your color choices. There is some great two-tone colors where they're going to do some insert of a color in the front panel, and then you'd have a different color around the wrap around the outside. Or it could be all one colored, but please get with Phil at Little Walter Tube Amps and help design the cab that you're after. One of the things I brought with me today is I'm using my 1960 Gibson Les Paul Jr. And so I'm using the P90 here. I'm also going to go through a Strat today, go through a hollow body, and go through an acoustic so you get an idea of what this amp can really do and just how versatile it can be. One of the things that impresses me most about this amplifier is how versatile it can be, even though it's designed to be primarily a rock machine. It does the rock machine thing extremely well. One of the things I went to Phil with is that, Phil, I need an amplifier that's going to give me a nice dirt, a nice grit, and articulate through the entire chord and hold together. And man, did he deliver. This thing just playing through a nice power E here. And you can hear every string as it goes through. It gets chimey. It's extremely articulate. You can hear every single string as it is struck across. It's real chimey. It gives definition there that most amplifiers will muddy up with. This one doesn't do that. This one doesn't become so thick and muddy. It articulates across every string, and that is just a beautiful thing. I'm currently on about, between 9 and 10 o'clock. We'll go through and take a look at some settings. If I scroll back, it cleans up. It gives me more headroom. I'm going to go down to about the 1 level. So it definitely cleans up. But it's also very responsive. If I dig in really hard, it's going to give a little bit of hair on the sound. But again, incredibly versatile. I used it playing an acoustic last week at a show and had it down about this level, and when you plug an acoustic into it, it just handles and articulates it beautifully. It's not a one-trick pony. I know a lot of people with this type amplifier would say it does one thing really well, and that's break up and get muddy and get heavy. But this amp is so much more than that. I've used this amp now for about 3-4 months and have really just fell in love with this. This amplifier is actually the main amplifier I'm using right now. This is the amplifier I'm going out with. I'm playing in clubs, I'm playing at festivals, even using this on the church stage, and it is fully articulate and delivers the tone that you would expect from a little Walter tube amp product. Yeah, this amplifier handles pedals extremely well. I just had on a little bit of just a Boss tremolo and just a little bit of reverb from our wet reverb. And it just, man, these pedals just light this amp up. Not that you really need a drive for this amplifier because it already has a lot of natural breakup, natural drive designed into the amp. But man, it handles, no matter if it's a tremolo, it's a reverb, delay, whatever you want to put on it, it translates extremely well into this amplifier. It will handle drive pedals. Let me do a little pedal board dance in here. I'm going to throw on just an ODR1 from Nobles. and just take through here. I've got the drive up about 6 o'clock on that one. But just to kind of show you a flavor here of what a drive pedal sounds on top of this amplifier. And the amplifier setting right now is at about 9 o'clock. We'll go through and adjust it just a little bit so you get a flavor of turning the knobby, so to speak. So let's see what we can do. Just an incredible amount of sustain. Without any pedals on at all, this is the sound I'm getting. So the ODR just pushed it slightly beyond where it was at. I'm pretty sure we can dial that in on this amplifier though, which is why I don't use a lot of distortion pedals with this particular amplifier, just because you don't need them. Let's raise this up. I'm going to raise it up to about noon and see what we get there. Same riff. Man, just super rich, super lush, sounds fantastic. There are no pedals on that at all. That is all straight amplifier. Again, we're only dealing with 10 watts, so this is, it's very powerful 10 watts, I'll say that, but it's also, man, it's so many applications for this amplifier. Give Phil a call at Little Walter Tube Amps, or go to littlewaltertubeamps.com, shoot him an email. He will be glad to listen to you and to fill out the sound that you're looking for. And once he's got that information, he can direct you towards a model that would be best designed for your sound needs. And I just can't say enough good things about Phil and Carol over at littlewaltertubeamps.com. They will take care of you like no one else in the business. So one of the things I wanted to take you through a moment and show you was a little bit of the headroom that's on this amplifier. Especially in today's world and the wonderful PA systems that are out there, you can mic this guy and get some great, powerful, clean tones out of that. So I'm going to take the Strat here and start with a little bit of clean, and we'll work our way through some of the dirt, some of the breakup that's on this amp. And then we'll also wrap up today with an acoustic so you can get a better feel of that. But like I said, I've used this everywhere in the past 3 months. I've used this on stage. I've used this in the clubs. I've used this at church, at festivals, so multiple settings. I've went out and experimented with it and really found it to be quite the versatile amplifier. One of the common problems on a low watt amplifier is that they're kind of a one-trick pony. However, on this amplifier, I've figured out some settings that really work well for me in the situations that I play in. And I think they would work well for you and that you'd be impressed here. We're going to run through some of the settings that I've used out and just get a feel for what this amp can do, both clean and with some drive and some breakup added. Again, there's no pedals or on, none whatsoever. We're just a straight clean tone into the amplifier right now. Man, just great chiminess. Has some great tonal qualities there that is shooting out of that amplifier. All I've done is I've got the volume at about a 8 o'clock position. I've got the tone over about 1, 2 o'clock. And man, this thing just handles clean extremely well. There was a little bit of finger picking there. But even with straight strumming patterns, still handles those. I'm going to bring up the volume just a little bit here. Start to get a little hair on this. Nice little bluesy tone. We'll take it up to about 11 o'clock. Man, it just bites in there, has a nice little hair, a nice little edge to that, just right on the edge of breakup right there. I'm going to switch down my pickup here. Just articulate across the board, versatile as can be. This amplifier can do it all. It's not a one-trick pony. This thing handles medium breakup, it handles clean, it handles dirt, and it does it all brilliantly. Can't say enough good things about this amplifier. I know if you watched my other review, I did a review of the 8-watt. Also fantastic amplifier. But this is definitely characteristically different than the 8-watt. The 8-watt will provide for you a little more headroom, but this, the 10-watt, and the circuitry on this one is just really designed to drive. All right, so we've now went through and turned it up to about 12, and we'll go through and see what kind of breakup we get from there. We'll just kind of play around some few things here. One of the things I wanted to go through and also talk about was how I've used this as an acoustic amplifier at church a few times, and even at a festival I played. Again, with the PA sound systems nowadays, you don't need a real overpowering amplifier on stage. And so even at 10 watts, I've got some nice articulations for my acoustic guitar to come out of this amplifier. And so, you know, whether it's strumming, picking, whatever you might be doing, it seems to handle those things pretty well. Seems to handle those things at least enough to meet my needs. Now, that being said, let me also say that if you're looking for a straight acoustic amplifier, Phil has a wonderful amplifier that's just for acoustics, and we'll be looking at some of those in a later review. Tracks and articulates the acoustic in a beautiful fashion. Again, this amplifier is not a one-trick pony by any means. We've put it through several paces today. You've seen it go through an acoustic, you've seen it go through P90s, single coils, humbuckers. It handled all of that, translated all of that well. Each guitar came through and shined through just as it should. It handles pedals brilliantly. And this amplifier, it really is a workhorse. Like I said, I've gigged with it for over 3 months now and not had any issues at all. I've been very happy with this amplifier. And so my hats are off again to Phil at Little Walter Tube Amps for building a fantastic, beautiful product. So Phil has hit another home run on this amplifier. Fantastic piece of work. Go to littlewaltertubeamps.com, check them out, or give Phil a call, and he'll be glad to speak with you. I'm Eric Self, and I'll catch you again later.